Yeah, that was it. And the ages and it went into the
Okay,
yeah,
so we continue on that.
yeah.
So you'll tell me to continue there.
Go ahead.
Okay. So then we talk about a particular time frame, a particular common traits. Now, like I said, this was first a philosophical society before it get to become a theological society. That means to say, in the beginning of our consciousness, when we become humanized, our interpersonal relations had no God in between to regulate them or Satan to deregulate them. They were purely based on an idyllic society that was created in order to live in harmony. Now, this is where we tell you now that the first, the ancient African, which we know them as the Bantu people, we had no kings and chiefs. We were a matriarchal society. It was based on a system of matriarchy. We had what we call the Great Council, the High Council of the Mothers of the Nation. This was composed of or consisting of women above the age of 40 years. And these women were traditionally healers. These women were what today the white men called witch doctors. And this was way back in the law of our people. We said this was the days of the stone and the bone age, which when we start to do comparative sociology and comparative anthropology and comparative history, we now know that, okay, they are talking about the time of the Stone Age and the old Stone Age and the Homo erectus and all these other creatures. But the law of our people and the oral tradition of our people said we lived side by side with other creatures that were men-like creatures. Now, all these anthropologists unearth here throughout Africa, they dig and said, we've got Zinjanthropus, Boise, we've got Homo erectus, we've got this, and this is the development of man. It's a false notion, Western science. Because African science, we classified the human being within the human society. His Majesty Haile Selassie teach us that the natural origin of man is man. You understand me? Men come from men. Apple from apple, light from light, God from God, death from death. That's it. It's energy. Men can only produce men, but monkey cannot produce men. There's no such kind of science. It's a false science. Hence, our elders, they teach us that in terms of consciousness, the work of the enemy is always to fill you up with a false consciousness. Now, these are the things we need to understand them, that when you come up into the tales of the hunter, it always glorifies the hunter. It doesn't glorify the lions. They don't tell you what the lions do to the hunter in the bush. They only tell you that the hunter then he shot. Henry Barton, Stanley, he did this.
Yeah.
David Livingstone did this. But they don't tell you how the bambuti chased him or whatever happened then. But then you're always told one side of the story because it is the slave master side of the story. And particularly to keep you, the black person, detached away from your own true heritage, because that is where you're going to derive your own quality, your own pride, your own self. It is built in that. As our elder Credo Mutwa said now, in this particular ancient society of the Bantu people, which was ruled by our mothers, which were the women above a certain age group who were specialists, who were herbalists, who were healers, who were naturalists, the first natural scientist. Because you must understand that when we drift away now, as Dr. Sebi said, that there was an introduction of violation, whereby the natural order was violated. When the natural order was violated, that's where men developed the idea of God. That is where we say, in the beginning, man made God in his image and likeness, not God made man. There's no such kind of thinking in our African philosophical thinking. God didn't make man, man made God. You can test that thesis in anything. God is always associated with a particular group of people. Jesus of Nazareth, God, Jehovah of Israel, Allah of Arabia. It goes with all nations. You understand? God is always associated with a particular person. And when you break it down in my African tradition is that my God can never in any way be your God. So the concept of the absolute God, we don't have that. The absolute truth, we don't have that. The truth is relative. God is relative. It's about relativity, laws of cosmic relativity. It is in natural order. But you find it in our so-called which European educators and American European educators, they refer to as primitive tribes, Bantu. To an extent that most of our African scholars are even ashamed to say Bantu. But what is Bantu? Bantu is the only name that we refer to ourselves. We say Muntu. It is the sound we make when we walk. We say Ntu. It is an onomatopoeic word. It is a word that represents the sound that we make. It comes from Ntutu. In Zulu, we will say Umtakati wavela wati tushu esbayen. We're talking about a man who came erect on hind feet, upright, upstanding, self-standing, the leg, the upright man, the biped. It is what a muntu is. Now, this is the only name we ever refer to ourselves and to none other Africans. Like the white men, we say abantu abamhlophe. It's a white man that. Now to ourselves we say abantu abantsundu. It's a dark-skinned Africans. It's dark-skinned people. Now that's the only name we refer to. That's where you'll get the Hutus in Rwanda. That is where you'll get Wato in Congo. Like even the founder of the Nyabingi orders, Congo Wato. For him to be conscious of the name is that Wato means Bantu. Like Hutu, Muntu, Munu in Shona, among the Shona people in Zimbabwe, is Munu. Like the ancient goddess, the first goddess. We, the Bantu people, when we get into the realm of religion now, we start to say, when we get into the realm of religion, we say the concept of the creator. It is the female. And this female, her name is Ninavanu. Nina. I have. Nina. Vanu. People. Ma. I'm the goddess. I'm the god of all. I'm the mother of all people. It is the mother of all people. You break it down to Uganda is Nyabingi, Ninabinji. She who's the possessor of all, mother of all. You break it down to ancient Wakambi people is Mamirave, Amarava, Mamirafe, the mother of the nations. It is always our concept of Africa. We relate to Africa as a feminine principle. Now, as a feminine principle is that the earth is the nourisher, is the mother. So things of the earth are given feminine names, like tribes among the Kikuyus. All the 9 Kikuyu tribes are named after 9 names of Kikuyu's daughters. They are feminine names. Wanjiro, Wanjiko, and all the different names of the Kikuyu tribes are all feminine. So it is our concept of self. It's our concept of when we drift now from nature, because then when I was telling you about the ancient, homogeneous Bantu society as one group of people, we were a philosophical society, not theological, which is make it very wrong, whether you are Muslim, whether you are Rastafari, whether you are anything that you are out there, as long as it is based theological, it is against your true nature. Because in your true nature, you are philosophical. Your worldview was purely philosophical. We have philosophy present and offer a space. It offer a latitude for error. In our Bantu language, we say a mistake is made by human being, not trees. So we always have a space for mistake. We don't have a concept of a perfect man and a perfect God for that matter, or a perfect relationship. We don't have that thing that I need to have a perfect relationship with this person. We can never have that, because we understood that the creation was created by imperfect Ma, our imperfect mother, which the wood carvers in all the tribes of the Bantu people throughout Africa, the wood carvers, whenever they carve her image, they always carve her imperfect, either one breast bigger than the other or one leg bigger than the other, because they said the creation was created imperfect so that we continue to perfect it. So our journey here is to continue to perfect that, but nobody possess perfection. Perfection is what we experience. This is our Bantu philosophy, that in the process of continuous living and interaction with one another, with this particular sacred, social, complex relations that we have, which our ancient mothers developed for the nations to go in cohesion, it was based on this particular idea that, first of all, no one is perfect. A human being is not perfect. From the concept of birth, that the reason why we are so full of nonsense is because we are born with our head facing down. All the shit and nonsense, they just run to the brain. That's why we're so mixed up. You see? So from the concept of conception and how you came even into this world is that you came the wrong way. And you still continue to come even the wrong way, in the Western way, in their hospital. You understand? So is that there is no way anybody It is illusions of religion and theology and ideology which are out of touch with reality. That's that fill men with illusions of self-righteousness, and you hear somebody said, I'm perfect. You don't have such thing. In the concept of the Bantu